Well, hello, Humblebees. This is Rosie and recording today so I could talk to you a little bit about Adopt a Grandparent. I know it's one of the, I guess, things that I love to do during the holiday season. And actually, this will be my 11th year doing Adopt a Grandparent. And so I wanted to share with you all how I do it, what to do, ask, see if I can answer what I think are the common questions to adopt a grandparent. But basically, what adopt a grandparent is when you give gifts to the elderly during Christmas and or during the holidays, and really because they feel most of the time if they're in homes, they're lonely, they don't have visitors, sometimes they're not even local to anybody. And so adopt a grandparent allows us to do that. And so I'm just going to show you the flyer that I did for last year, and it says like support our 10th annual adopt a grandparent. It says, let us spread joy to the elderly this season. And $15 gives the mint bliss, the foot lotion, the fluffy socks, and a plush toy. And this was my flyer, and it says, accepting donations through this day. And so I do have a picture of all of the gifts. I have a picture of me, and I'll just share like this one on the left, on the top left. That was the home where my grandmother was at, and sorry, where my aunt was at. And I've been doing it there a couple years. She passed away 2 years ago. And so I used to go to the ALF where my grandmother was, and that ALF closed. And so I've always honored her. And there's, maybe 8 gifts or 10 gifts that I drop off at that home. But then I have another home, and I'll talk about it. And I don't know if you guys know this, but on the bottom left, you'll see my kids. That's my grandmother. That was at the end of, really it was her last Christmas. And so I always would give the gifts to a home, but I always would go to the ALF where she was at, and I would give gifts, to the people at that home. And there's something about adopt a grandparent that is so special. Again, I've been doing it 11 years, and it's because, again, they're lonely, and they don't get seen, or they don't, sometimes they're not even remembered. And so what I think is special is that also, like, I will have people that buy a gift in honor of their grandmother or their grandfather. And so that's just something they continue to do because they want to honor their grandmother, their grandfather, and they'd be like, I would be getting them a gift, and this makes me so happy, to know that you're doing this. And so I've had people that have just been doing this for many years with me. And so the first thing that you have to do is obviously make a decision that you're gonna do it. And so I have kept it the same every year with the gift. I do the mint bliss, I do the socks. I take advantage because Mary Kay gives the socks for free. So I do the mint bliss and the free socks. And then I add like a stuffed animal, a little stuffed, what do you call them? Gnome, or a Santa, or a reindeer. There's a million of them at the Dollar Tree. That's usually where I go get them, right? And so I do charge $15. I tell them it's $15, but I personally do not take profit. And I let people know. I said, I just buy, this is how much it is. And then I use my profit to just buy more gifts, because usually when you go to the homes, they need, 50, or they have 100 people there, and there's just never enough. And so this to me is just the way that I give back in my business. Now, can you take a profit? That is totally your decision. I don't think it costs more than 10. And if you want to make 5 on each, but that's a personal decision that you would do. But however, I put the stuffed animal, I put the socks. What happens if they run out of socks? If they run out of socks, then I just go to the Dollar Tree and I buy socks, and I just buy another pair of fluffy socks. But I try to do it and book it or buy them as soon as they come out with Mary Kay. So that is that's what I do. And then I usually will buy, I've done it in the past where I bought gift bags with tissue and I put it in there, but I actually don't like it. I've done it a couple of times. It is not my favorite thing to do, because I feel like with the gift bags, they're very bulky to carry. You don't see it. And the people love like seeing a little stuffed animal. Like, they're more excited about this stuffed animal, which is crazy. And so I usually will get like a clear cello bag, and then I will take out the boxes, and I will just wrap up the sock, like this. And then I put the little stuffed animal, and I put it in a bag, and I usually allow the head to be like coming out of the bag so that they're actually, this is what they're seeing when they get it. And so, but you could decide whether you want to put it in a bag. I usually go to the Dollar Tree for bags, and if you get those clear bags, they're like 50 for $1. So that was the other thing that I found, that when I bought gift bags, they're 2 for $1 or 3 for $1 versus 50. So if I buy 100 of them, I'm spending $50 in bags. Where if I buy those 50 clear bags for $1, or I think they're 25 for $1, 30 for $1, something like that, I'm spending $4. So that 40 something dollars, that's a difference, allows me to buy more gifts for more people. They don't care about the packaging. So so those are the gifts that I do. Now, have I done other things? Yes, I've also done hand creams, and I've also done, so I did buy like the men's sets that were on there, and I did buy some of those because I divided them. I'll divide them in half, and I'll still put a pair of socks, and I'll still put a stuffed animal in there, and I always have a couple men's ones as well. So those are the gifts that I do. Now, I've always made a decision to do it, so that's not a question as to when I do it. The question would be where. So for many years, I did it at a place, and that place kind of went downhill, and the person that was running the events there left. And so I ended up having to find a new place. And so it really doesn't matter where you do it, as long as you make sure that you talk to them ahead of time. I have never had anybody really decline me and saying, come over. As a matter of fact, there's more of a need than I have the ability to give gifts to. And so I would suggest that if you have a home where you know somebody that is there, maybe an elderly was there, maybe it's one that's down the street from you, but that you would go into the home and you would just say that you are doing a program, that this is your first year, your 5th year, your 11th year, whatever, for Adopt a Grandparent, that you would like to just donate gifts to the residents that are there, and you're looking for, you want to talk to the one that is the head of like the enrichment center or the events planning, because they usually will have a Christmas holiday event. And the beautiful thing is for you to be able to go during the holiday event, because they're all dressed so festive, and they have their red and their green and their colors, and they love it. And they're already in a festive mood. They get to get all of the residents, they bring them in usually into like the hall, like their fellowship hall, or whatever you want to call it, their cafeteria. And then they usually have someone that plays music. And so they're in festive spirit. And then they'll announce that, hey, you all have a gift. And so you'll get to give them the gifts there. And then those that are not well enough to go and to travel down, then most of the time, the only time I wasn't able to do it was probably like the 2 years during COVID. You get to go to the rooms and you get to hand deliver it to them on their beds. Like you could, like if they're in bed, you actually get to give it to them. And that's a very, it's very heartwarming. It's not an easy thing at times to see them, and to see them just go, like, be so happy over this little gift that you have given them. And so I always call them, I'll ask them, then I'll tell them how many residents do you have. And so one of the things that I do is I tell them, like, this place that I was at, or a lot of the places, they usually have like the amount of people that are going to be at the fellowship hall, like, right? Because like, let's say they tell you, yeah, we have about 100 residents here. Well, about 60, they're in this section. So they'll be at the party because they're the ones that are like more alert. And then they'll tell you, and we have 40 that won't come down because they're bedridden or they're just not doing well, right? And so you have an idea. And so depending how many people you have, depending where you have it, what your goal is, you got to start doing it now. You're able to have all of those gifts for the people. So when I first started by myself, I was like, okay, listen, I'm going to try my hardest to get 100, but if I can't, okay, or doesn't get there, which is the group I need? Okay, do you have 60 that go to the that are going to be at the party? I want to make sure that they know, because they understand what they're getting, right? They're okay. And so so that's one of the things that I do. Now, once I do that, I do the flyer, and I showed you the flyer, and I'm going to show you something else, right? But I do this flyer. I have it all out. I explain everything that's on there. I put the wording on there. And if you're like, where do I get this? So if you go to our Facebook for the Humblebees, and you go, oops, to the files. You can do a search right here on the right, and it goes to, and you put adopt a grandparent for adopt, and it is gonna come out. Well, this is my flyer. These are my flyers that you can see, but that's not where I was going. Why is it not doing it? I wasn't in files. Was I in files? Oh, search files. I was doing it wrong. So if you go here, like I did, let me rephrase that again, and you do adopt, you're going to get anything that had like adopt in there, which is, this is the one I have. But what you want to do is you want to search right here under search files. And if I do adopt, you're going to see that it comes out, and I have a letter that's a really old letter, but I have it. And this is the file from last year. And so that flyer from last year has everything that you need to know in Word format, right? And so these are some things that I wanted to share with you, right? So that you understand. And then the scripts are here. So when you do adopt a grandparent, people are purchasing a gift set from you. Okay, so Mary Kay is not doing it. And I say that a lot because a lot of times people are like, oh, so we go back, they're like, oh, Mary Kay is partnering and we're doing an adopt a grandparent. That is legal trouble. Like, we cannot say that Mary Kay is doing this. We as beauty consultants are doing this, right? The other thing is that you can do things now on social media, but make sure, I kind of like, if you're going to do it, make sure you do the right wording. Make sure that you tell them that on there that if they have a consultant, to call their consultant. To me, it's very disheartening when I see all these people trying to get another mint bliss. And I'll give you an example. Last year I had to call a client of mine, and she's my repair client. And I don't know, she said, oh, but I saw her answer on someone's thing. She's like, oh, I want to support it and I want to go. And I'm like, you're my client. She's like, well, it said it was for a cause. I'm like, it's Mary Kay. Like, that's what they're doing. So it was really kind of sad because customers don't know. And so just make sure this says that this is that you're a consultant with Mary Kay, and if they have a consultant, for them to reach out to their consultant for an adopted grandparent, right? It's not a tax deduction. We're not a 501(c)(3). So this is people like really just wanting to give a gift. Okay. And so, let me see. So I don't put Mary Kay on there, any of that. And then I did put that. If you choose to give another set from your profits, this is a private thing, right? It shouldn't be promoted as a donation, more as a gift giving to the holidays, because people think donation and they think tax write-off, right? And so Mary Kay In Touch has a whole thing on how to do your how do you call it? How to do the legal part of it. Okay. Now, if you look at that document that I have on there, that document also has, here's scripts that I have on there that you can see. Here's scripts for social media leads. I put it in there. This is private messages to send that people that say yes. Post on your friend, like timelines, if they allow you to post it. So all of the scripts are there. So you can go, you can tweak it, but at least you know that you have the scripts there for you to be able to use and to copy. Okay, so I just want to make sure I don't have. Okay, so the last thing that I started doing, it only took me 10 years to figure this out. However, some of you are like, seriously? But it's okay. I'm being me. It's real. I never kept a list of how many people bought what. So 10 years later, I'm like, oh, no. I'm going to get smart. So I knew the people that always bought from me. So like I have a client that's been buying from me. She's a customer. She used to be one of my consultants years ago. And her company every year donates. They would donate 150, 200, 250. And the last couple of years, they've donated like 300. So I know I am going to this company to donate. And some companies will donate an amount and they don't need the tax write-off. Like they just do it because they're good-hearted and they want to donate. And so, but what I did is I did an Excel spreadsheet, you guys. And for some people that might be much more Excel friendly, you are not allowed to just take in my spreadsheet is all I want to say. So this is my spreadsheet. This is my Excel skills. And it says like the names of the people that donated, how many they purchased, how they paid, the amount they paid, when they paid, and then so I had 60 donated, and then I broke down the cost for this. So like if I bought 44 mint bliss, 58 stuffed animals, 5 socks, 5 bags, 1 sock, this was my total. And then because I want to know, like I wanted to know last year, like, okay, if they bought me this much, I got 570, that's 384. I actually have left over almost $200. Okay, so with that extra $200, I was able to buy another. That's how I got to like the 100. You know what I mean? Because I was able to do those donations. So I started doing that. And so guess what I'm going to do the minute that I now put this out? My goal is to put this out this week. I'm going to call back. How funny, Stace. But on my old list, so I could call back, Anna and Carla and Marielle and like all of them and be like, hey, I'm calling you back because this is what you donated last year. We're doing this back again. I am just assuming that they're going to do it every year from then on. And so again, a lot of the ones that do 1 or 2 or 3, they've just been doing it for years. So I do an Excel spreadsheet in order to have, to be able to get these donations, and I go back to them for me to start tracking it. And so that's kind of my goal. Now I take Venmo and I take Zelle, for my payments. Back then you would do cash and all of that. I did this one year, and I will put it out there. I didn't do it last year. I don't know if I will, but it's always a good tip for you all to know that when you do ProPay, if you want to send out like a specific, like, you could also do it through Square, which is why I stopped doing it through ProPay. But I'm going to give you this tip. If you go to ProPay, you can set up a link that is specific for a certain donation. So like I could preset it for Adopt a Grandparent, $15, right? And because I send it for Adopt a Grandparent, $15, I can advertise that link and people could go on and they could just put in their credit card for the $15 for the gift, which is kind of pretty cool. Now, I haven't done it again. I didn't do it last year. I don't know if it changed. The only bad thing was that if they wanted to donate 2, or they wanted to donate 3, or they wanted to donate 4, you would have to do it 4 times. That was not a good thing. Or I would have to create a separate link for them. Now I tell them, hey, you could do Zelle or Venmo. Why I do that, and I prefer Venmo really, is because then it's all on one thing and I don't pay fees. Which is another thing to consider. Like this one, I didn't have fees, but if you do it through Square or ProPay, there are fees. Now, the other thing you can do if somebody does a donation or wants a donation and they want to pay with a credit card, you can also go on your Square and you can create an invoice and you can send it to them, and it'll automatically say Adopt a Grandparent. If they do say I want 5, then it would be Adopt a Grandparent, 5 gifts, $75. They get it. They can open it online and they can put their credit card information on there. And so that is another way that you can do it. And so that you can collect payments and fees. And so let me tell you the last part of it. Then when I go deliver it, I take it. I try to go always, like I said, when they're having their party. I do let all my customers know that whoever wants to come, they're welcome to come. I don't know. I've had in the past a couple people show up. I've had people that say, you know what, I want to go with my kids. That would be a great thing. I've opened it up to the team. And so you go and you deliver. Last year was my favorite. I pray that they could go again. But I had some people from a networking group, and he always dresses as Santa, and he has a friend that dresses as the Grinch, and they came with me. And so I had a couple people that came, and we did the delivery together. And so they just like, forget Rosie. Like they could care less about me, even though I had my ugly sweater. I've been wearing the same ugly sweater probably for the 11 years because I refuse to buy another ugly sweater. Like you only need one in your life, right? And so I have my hat, I have my stuff. When they came in, not only were they in love with the gift, but they were in love with Santa and a Grinch. They were like the Grinch. The Grinch stole the show. They loved them, like they laughed. And so but it was really, really a heartwarming thing. And then I do have one more thing, is that when you go there, just make sure you're following their social media guidelines. So for example, I would take a picture of the front, all the residents are facing, you know, one way, I'm facing them. So the picture would be of us in the front, but not faces. If you're gonna give a gift, they could give you could give, but you can't put their faces. 99% of the time, right? They do that because of social media. You don't know whose mother, whose sister, who's like, you have no idea their situation and they need waivers. So in a nutshell, that is my training for Adopt a Grandparent. So do you ladies have any questions? Oh, wait, let me go back. You always post, I always post what I do. And I always send each individual person a picture of it. If they're on social media, I'll tag them as a thank you for adopting, even if it's one. And I also, if it's social, not social media, I will text them a picture of my thank you and let them know that I appreciated them. So I always do a follow-up with them, okay? All right. So any questions on Adopt a Grandparent?
Rosie,
Yes.
so my question is, the script and everything has everything there that I need so that I can call these places or go in person so that I can tell them about the Adopt a Grandparent program?
No, it has the scripts for you to try to get people to don't like to purchase a gift from you. It
Oh,
doesn't
okay.
have it.
Then
That
I
is
just have to
just,
go in person to the
I've never
facility.
been in person. I just call them. I just call them like, because
Okay,
I had one and last year was the first time because I kept on going to Palm Beach, I mean to Miami. And last year I was like, no, I'm gonna do one up here. And I called them and I just said, you know, my name is Rosie. I am calling. I'm a sales director with Mary Kay Cosmetics. And we do an annual Adopt a Grandparent where we will donate gifts. I do tell them they're donate, right? Because I'm not asking for the donation, where we donate gifts to the residents. And I was wanting to know who was the one in charge of the events there, your event coordinator or activities coordinators. I would like to see if you'd be in, if you know your home would be interested in receiving and being able to pass out gifts. Oh my God, that sounds great. Let me talk to you. And I tell them, I said, listen, this is what we do. You know, you could tell them my director's been doing this for over a decade. And, you know, I would like to do it now locally in my city. And so this is what I'm looking for. And so, you have to think of, I always, when I first started, I would say, okay, if I could donate 25, you know, you could partner with other people. But if I could donate 25, and I always say, okay, let's say I only got 15 donations, I was willing to put in the other ones. So I would give a number. Like that's something that my family has always donated. Anyways, you know, so
okay,
find out what that amount is, or maybe you start with a smaller ALF, or maybe you start with a smaller home. Obviously, if you call like the biggest home in your city, they might have hundreds of people, right? And so that's a little bit harder. So, but this is something that I think that if you start it as the years go by, you will always
right, it starts getting bigger and bigger.
it
Yeah,
starts getting bigger and bigger. Yeah.
okay, all right,
Definitely.
that sounds cool.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much, Rosie. I appreciate it. This really was helpful.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my due diligence, but I just got home, so
Hold on, because you're recorded. So the only other thing I would say is that start now. I always start this like November 1st. Some
right,
people have already started, but I like to start November 1st so that it starts going out there and I can start getting all of these donations throughout the month of November, so that whether it's the first week or the second week of December, whenever it is, it's you have everything and you're ready to go, because then it takes time for you to be able to put everything together. So let
right.
me stop this recording then. And so I wish you guys all an amazing holiday time to give back with Adopt a Grandparent. And it's on.